This video is intended for students of Computer Science 2500 at the University of Guelph. This video will help you understand how to use a reference or a pointer inside a function to manipulate the variable that is in the calling function, usually in main. So just as a quick review, if you remember, a reference and a pointer are the same thing, and in fact, all they are is a memory address. And that's a very important thing to keep in mind as we're discussing how this goes along. So in this example, I have a function called toFunction that takes a pointer as its parameter. So we have an int star here, which is a pointer to an integer. And that's the parameter to this function. This function does two things. It returns 1 if the parameter is odd and 0 otherwise, and it also sets the value of the thing that it's pointing at to equal the current day of the month. We're going to make the assumption that we've included some calendar library that tells us what day of the month it is, because I don't feel like calculating that. So over here in main, we've got two variables, my age and new age, and I've set my age equal to 21. And if I want to call this function in here, I need to first assign it something. So the function returns an integer, so I will assign it to an integer. So I'm going to say new age equals toFunction. And then I need to send it an argument that matches the type of the parameter. The parameter is an int star. That's a pointer. A pointer is the same as a memory address. So I need to send it the address of an integer. So I'm going to send it the address of my age because that's the integer I've initialized. And that will call the function with the correct type of argument. I could have made a pointer in here. I could have said int star my pointer, and then set my pointer equal to the address of my age. That works too. And then I could have sent my pointer to the function. Doesn't matter how you do it. Either way is correct. So now, what's happened here? Well, aside from the fact I have some things on top of one another, I've declared a variable called new age, and it is assigned there. Let's get rid of these pointers so that we get not such crowded text. There we go. And I have declared another variable. Oh, sorry, my age should have been first. Let's put new age there. I've declared my age, and it got declared first, so it will probably show up first in memory. I've declared new age. I've set my age equal to 21. And then I've called this function. New age equals toFunction, and I've sent it the address of my age. So if we say that these memory addresses are numbered sequentially, this is position 0, this is position 1, I call the function. The function makes a memory location for its parameter, or the computer makes a memory location for the function's parameter, and we'll say that it just gets the next memory location. And it is expecting an address. So it gets the address of my age. So now it's got the address of 000 because we're in position 0 over here. So in this function, I need to write some code that returns 1 if a parameter is odd and 0 otherwise, and sets the value of a parameter to the current day of the month. Well, I want to say if the thing that's at a parameter. So if I just say if a parameter is even and odd, I'm going to be checking the address, which is not what I want. I need to dereference this pointer to find what's at the other end of it. To dereference a pointer, you use the star. So if star param mod 2 equals 0, well, what does that do? Well, if we mod by 2 and we get a 0, we know we have an even number. All right, so if that happens, then we've got an even number. Okay, so that's good. Else, we have an odd number. And I'm not going to write out all the code there. So now I know whether I've got an even or odd number. Notice how I dereference this, and what that does is that says go to apparam, find the address, and then go look and see what's in that address and use that value. Okay, so that's good. And then I'm going to say, all right, now the second thing I need to do is set the value of apparam equal to the day of the month. So we'll say that current day equals day of month, which is my fake function that I'm assuming that this library has, this library that may or may not exist. And now I can say apparam dereferenced equals current day. Well, what's that going to do? That's going to say find the value in apparam 000, dereference it, which means follow it to that memory location here, and set its value at that memory location equal to whatever the current day is. So if we say the current day is a 7, that memory location will be turned into a 7. Inside this function, even though this function does not have a variable called myAge declared. So we're using the pointer to help us work with the memory locations. Let's look at some things that you need to understand about pointers. So, pointer quick reference. If you want to get the address of a thing, you use ampersand thing. Okay, in the example I used ampersand myAge. If you want to get the value of a thing or dereference a pointer, you put a star in front of it. So this is a dereference. So star and then the name of the variable. Star int pointer equals 5 sets the value of wherever that is pointing. It gets the memory address and then it goes to that address and makes that address the value of 5. If you want to assign a pointer to point at something, then you can declare the pointer to be a type pointer, and this can happen, probably should happen in 2 steps. So let's declare the pointer. There we've got a variable type and a pointer name, and then we have pointer name equals ampersand variable. So now the pointer is pointing at the address of this variable. This variable must be of this variable type. These have to be the same type. So if I have an int pointer by int star, this has to be a variable, has to be an int. So here's a concrete example of that. I have an int star int pointer. I have an int variable, and then I can say int pointer equals the address of int variable, and that will assign the pointer to point to the thing. And The last thing that you might want to do with a pointer is you might want to assign the pointer to point to the same thing as some other pointer. And that's just done with equals. The trick is you have to have the pointers have to have the same type. So they both have to be in stars or student stars or rectangle stars or char stars. And then you can just go pointer name equals other pointer name. So there's a quick overview of what you can do with pointers. You need to understand when to use the ampersand, that gets you the address. The star in front it dereferences the pointer and takes you to the place where the pointer is pointing. And as long as you keep those two things in mind, it's not really too challenging to use pointers.